Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience Win Total Show for the AFC, but some news has changed since we've actually recorded this show. Leonard Fournette cut, Derwin James out for an extended period of time. Geoff is not taking this too well, so just keep that in mind when you're watching the show, because Geoff at least refers to the Chargers as very healthy. They're not so much anymore. But also, the big thing, besides smashing the like button and subscribing to Mayo Media Network, is this is the first crack you're going to get at the Pat Mayo Experience Week 1 NFL Listeners League. The link is in the description of this video and podcast. There are only 4,000 spots for Week 1. We fill it super quickly. We get higher totals for the upcoming weeks. But hey, these spots are going to go very quickly, so I'm giving you, the people who tuned in to probably our show of the year, almost every single year, the first crack at getting into the league. $15 to play, like golf. 3 max entry, like golf. No rake, like golf, which makes it the best tournament on DraftKings. Enjoy the show.
The Pat Mayo Experience.
Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, part 2 of the NFL Win Total Show. Today, 2020 AFC Win Totals, AFC Division winners, Conference Champion, Super Bowl picks. We have the odds for everything, even to make the playoffs. If you out there are watching the video version of the show, you are watching it on Mayo Media Network. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Pump up those numbers. If you're listening to the audio version, please rate it 5 stars. Goes a long way. If you missed the NFC Win Total Show, you can find the link to that in the description of this podcast or video. There's always a few nuggets down there in the description. You might always want to check that out. Just saying. You can also find the time codes for everything down there as well if you just want to hop to your favorite team. But smash the like button for the episode, and in the comment section, please tell me your favorite over or under win total in the AFC. Geoff Fienberg is still in studio with me. The coin is still in studio with me. Paul is still behind the camera, and on the line, once again, it is Tim Undergust.
Tim Andergust.
It's not my name.
Heard it was.
People don't call me that.
Everyone calls you that.
People call me Top Cat. An old Top Cat's got some tricks up his sleeves for this show.
Do you? He's going to be like your normal, I don't like this team because they make me sad, under, and then they go over?
I don't like the sounds of this.
No, maybe I'll have some special guests come in and make some picks.
Oh, my God. All right, let's recap last year's picks from the AFC show. Tim was actually the champion of AFC picks last year. Hot teams like the Jets and Raiders hit their overs for Tim very slightly, but they won 10-6. Geoff, you were 6-10 in the AFC last year. I was 7-9. The coin was 9-7, making the coin the definitive champion of the Win Total Show. Yes, we just flip a coin on over or under. Heads for over, tails for under. I was second, then Cust, then Geoff. Rough year for you. But you had your lockdowns. You actually did. Let's see here. If we look at it, you had one division winner from last year, correct? Jeffrey, you had the New England Patriots.
Jeez.
Tim had 0 correct. Tim's division winners last year were Pittsburgh, the Jets, the Jags, and the Chargers.
But yet he crushed the win totals.
None of those teams made the playoffs.
Interesting.
I actually had 3 of 4, despite going 7-9 in the win totals. I picked the Browns, stupidly, to win the North. I had the Texans, the Chiefs, and the Patriots. So boom. Bad overall picks. Good picks when it mattered in terms of division champions. But I think we should just jump right into this. We're starting with the Baltimore Ravens, and we're starting with the AFC North. We're back again. The over-under is 11. This is all from DraftKings Sportsbook, by the way. These totals, you can go check it out at DraftKingsSportsbook.com. To make the playoffs, -715. Division, -225. Conference, 320 to win the AFC, +650 to win the Super Bowl. I am going under on the Baltimore Ravens. I think that they could definitely win the AFC. This is nothing really against them. I went against the Niners as well in the NFC. It just seemed like a very high win total. This seems like a really high win total. Do you expect Lamar Jackson to do what he did last year again? I don't think that's necessarily unsustainable, but just to reach those levels again is going to be super tough. And what if anything happens to Lamar Jackson? What does this team turn into? They might be like, okay, but they're not going to be great. Like, there's a lot working against you to get back up to 11 wins, especially because Roethlisberger's back for the Steelers. Like, they should be better. The Bengals should be better. The Browns should be better. Like, their division as a whole got a lot better too. It's not just a bunch of free wins on the schedule.
I'll take it the other way. I like the over. I like the returning pieces. I trust the coach.
Coach is good.
I think in this COVID world, I don't think teams were able to catch up with certain installations to be like Baltimore, to beat Baltimore. They made improvements to the defense. Calais Campbell, I mean, that's a real player that does exactly what you need from preeminent defenses, and he gets the quarterbacks, he attacks opposing quarterbacks. The three of them he can hunt in this division. I like Baltimore to succeed this. I could make a case this team might be better than last year. Hopefully it happens in the win column because I'm picking the over, but I think as an actual team, they will be better. God forbid for them, they lose that first playoff game, though. That's when unfair questions or fair questions will really start to happen. But we'll worry about that in February or January.
Are they like the old school Tampa Bay Rays where they're geared to be a regular season team and maybe not a playoff team?
I could see how they it seems like they're so much farther ahead of the game in the regular season, and there are some variables that come into play in the postseason. I don't know, 2 straight times in the postseason, they got bullied early in football games and didn't really recover.
Yeah, you talked about the Phoenix Suns earlier. They're far closer to the Suns than the other analogy you'd made.
Maybe. I actually might agree with that. Anyhow, I've got them winning over 11 games, winning this division pretty easily. They are the class, and as I said, it's scary to think with the moves they made. I think they're a better football team to succeed in 2020.
So under for me, over for Geoff, over for the coin, Tim. How about you?
I was torn on this one because, I don't know. And I looked at my card. I have a lot of unders in the NFC, or AFC, sorry. So I do need to take some overs, and I think I will take the over here. I was torn though, so I asked my friend, and he said, "You gotta take the over on the Ravens." I said, "Okay, thank you, Mr. Burns." That's George Burns, by the way. I asked him about it, and he said, "Take the Ravens. You can't lose this one, kid." And so George Burns and I are going to take the Baltimore Ravens over. Gracie agrees. Thanks, George.
I find it hard to believe that you have impressions worse than your other impressions. That one just sounds like you doing the exact same
it's
voice.
George Burns. You ever see that movie with John Denver I was in? Oh, God, that's a good one.
People are probably watching this like, why is he even laughing? It's not funny. But just Tim.
So you're taking the over, Tim?
Yeah. I am taking the over just slightly. Not loving it, but I will take the over. I have a couple of strong unders in this division, so over makes sense here.
It's hard to get a feel for the Ravens. 11's a lot of wins. Could they go 12-4, 13-3, 14-2? Absolutely. It's just
They just got a lot of talent over here.
I shouldn't even laugh. I don't want to.
You're encouraging.
Yeah, I don't want to.
He's like a
encourage him 'cause
child.
It sucks. Like you said, you didn't know it was possible that there were worse impressions in his repertoire, but we just heard one.
He's already promised multiple other impressions over the course of this episode, so stay tuned.
All right, let's get to the Steelers. The Steelers with Roethlisberger back, over under 9 wins to make the playoffs, -135 to win the division, +350 to win the conference, 12-1 to win the Super Bowl, 25-1. I'm buying that Ben's back. I like the over on the Steelers. I think that they end up winning this division. They were horrendous last year and still kind of good. It blows my mind. I actually really like their defense. And if they can just have some offense that moves the ball just a little bit, unlike last year, they're going to be really good.
Yeah, I love the defense.
I really like the Steelers here. Strong over 9 wins for them. I'm going to consider the +350 to win the division too, but there's another division bet that I kind of like in this division. Maybe I'll bet both because they're both plus money. So over on the Steelers for me. The coin is going with under on the Steelers. 9 wins. Tim.
Yeah, the coin and I are in simpatico. We see things the same way. Talked about how I thought Seattle could flame out and be the team with the first overall pick. I think the Steelers are right there with them. I don't know what the Steelers do particularly well. I mean, you mocked me about Brady. Roethlisberger coming off a season-long injury, and he'd been declining before that. I'm not sold. I don't think Juju Smith-Schuster's really any good the way we thought he was going to be. I just look at this team and I think, I don't know. This is I talked earlier about this is a name pick. This is people are picking this team because it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I don't have to do that, and I'm not going to, particularly in a division where they're certainly outclassed by the Ravens, and I think probably outclassed by the other teams too. Maybe not the Browns. The Browns are terrible. But I don't know. I look at them and I just think, meh. Are they going to win more games than they lose? Probably not. I think this team probably wins 6, 7, 8 games if they're lucky. So the under is the play to me.
I mean, the last time that we saw Ben Roethlisberger was week 1 last year. He threw 351 yards. The year before that, during his decline season, according to him, threw for over 5,000. But yeah, they're
going to go to the Super Bowl then. What could I know? Pick them to go to the Super Bowl then. Go ahead.
No, you only have to pick them to be over 9 wins. That's far different than winning the Super Bowl. One pays minus 110, the other pays 25 to 1.
But they're bad.
They're not bad. They're actually quite a good team.
I'm really torn here because I think 9 is a very fair number.
What did they win, 8 last year?
And having to come, incredible job. You could argue it was one of Mike Tomlin's best coaching jobs to get 8 wins out of that team with what was healthy.
But that's not saying much.
What?
Mike Tomlin's not a very good coach. So this is a really good coaching job of his. Like, there aren't very many good coaching jobs of his you could put up there.
And he's won a Super Bowl.
Might be one of the 3 or 4 worst coaches in
playoff
football.
team.
I tend to agree that like his in-game decision making,
weird.
He's like Pete Carroll in a weird way.
But it's
like,
just,
he gets stuff out of players somehow.
But it was also last year in a losing effort, a 500 season, where Mike Tomlin endeared himself to a lot of us that were like, this guy sucks. But the fact that they got to 500 last year with what was there, and was it Mason Rudolph and
Duck Hodges,
a lot of other horrible pieces, I got to give them credit. I'm torn though. Gun to my head, I will say under.
Okay.
I don't love it either.
What if Ben's back
way.
as Ben?
Then they'll be really good because the defense is strong. I think they're actually going to be pretty good or pretty bad. I don't kind of see them.
So it's like 13-3 or 3-13?
Yeah, or like 11-5, 5-11. I don't really see them finding middle ground. I think like if it gets ugly there, it could flame out bad.
Have the Steelers ever had a losing record under Tomlin?
Not that I can recall.
So I mean, they have to win 2. So they're at bare minimum they're 8-8. I'll take the over of 9.
Sure. I'm not comfortable saying they're going to win 10. So
All right.
I don't know.
Tim's favorite team, Broadway Baker and the Browns, back up this year. The hype is off the Browns, but they're still 8.5 wins in this division to make the playoffs, plus 110, plus 550 to win the division, to win the conference, 18 to win Super Bowl, 40 to 1. They're not 14 to 1 like they were last year, Geoff. Can they win more than 8.5 games though?
I believe so. And I really loved their offseason. Like I loved all the moves, stacking them on top of each other that they were making to make themselves what I thought was almost a complete football team, where the only thing, in my opinion, holding them back might actually be quarterback. They've had some real bad injury luck in the offseason, though.
Defensive-wise, especially.
Yeah, like really scary injury luck.
Garrett is still suspended, right?
Unfortunate injury luck. Maybe the worst I think anyone has had in training camp this or whatever you make of whatever camp is. But I think they find a way to get to 9, almost on the number. I don't love this one either. I don't love anything in this division. It's always been a weird one.
The coin is going under. Geoff is going over. I'm actually going to go under on this. I think 8-8 sounds about right for the Browns, but I guess it depends. Like, is Landry going to come back healthy? What does the addition of Hooper do for them? Does the improved offensive line actually make Baker look pretty good all of a sudden? Tim couldn't have been more right about the old Freddie Kitchens. Maybe just having a competent head coach equals a few more wins for this team, and just they don't look lost at times. And maybe Beckham turns back into Beckham. It's a hard. They're a lot like the Lions. When I describe the Lions as being like a fantasy team, the Browns are a fantasy team. Can they make up the rest of it with good offensive line play? And I think their defense just might be too banged up that by the time they get right on that side of the ball, it might be too late for them. So I'm going to go slight under on 8.5 with the Browns. Tim, I'm guessing you're going under.
Yeah, I am going under. Yeah, Kitchens was terrible, but Stefanski's never blown the whistle as a head coach. So am I to assume that without any camper and they're just going to figure this out on the fly? I'm not so sure. Mayfield's just not that good. And we saw that. Like, he's not the worst quarterback, but, they took the first overall pick in a draft and they set it on fire. So it is what it is at this point. I don't like this team. Like you said, they've had some injury problems. And then you look at the roster. I don't have any faith that Beckham is going to return to Beckham. I think Landry is the better receiver of the two, but even him, I have questions about, and I don't know what the Hooper edition does for you. I like Sheldon
What do you
Richardson
mean you don't
and
know what
Olivier
it does
Vernon,
for you? Austin Hooper was excellent last year.
I don't know, but I think that's because he played with Matt Ryan, not because he in and of himself was that great. I like the cornerback they took in the draft, Williams. I think he's a darn good player, but all things considered, I don't buy this team. I don't buy the offensive talent at all. I don't believe in it. And nothing has dissuaded me from last year when I watched that team underperform because in the end, they just didn't have the ability or skill to do it. I remain convinced they don't quite have the ability or skill to do it. Nothing much has changed. So yeah, give me the under.
This could be the ultimate like post-hype buy team though. Because everyone's
but they're over unders 8.5. So it's not like
but they could be. Everyone was predicting like, oh my god, the Browns go 13-3 this year. This was last year. Obviously, they did not. But like that's still in. If everything runs right for them and all the offensive players that they have play to their abilities, then all of a sudden that offense is like borderline unstoppable.
I don't think that the Browns and unstoppable can be put in the same sentence in any serious sense. Like the Chiefs are a team that when they're clicking could be unstoppable. The Browns aren't worthy enough to tie their shoes. Let's be honest here about what we mean.
The Bengals are up next. Joe Burrow playing quarterback. The last I saw, Joe Mixon wasn't even at practice at this point.
No.
He's someone who still has a contract dispute to watch out for too. AJ Green's already banged up, but they're 5.5 is their win total. Plus 625 to make the playoffs, plus 2,500 to win the division, 66 to 1 to win the conference, 150 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. Kind of like that plus 625 to make the playoffs or 25 to 1 to win the division. Just if weird, I just like all these super long shot division winners in a weird COVID season. Because I don't know what this team looks like with Joe Burrow. They were like okay with Andy Dalton before like they were like, hey Andy, why don't you sit out so we can get the first overall pick here? Like
then bring him back for the one game they wanted to win.
Yeah,
let's not forget that.
And they won against like the league's actual shittiest team. This offense could be good too. Like they also have some pieces. I don't know what to make of their defense or their offensive line. Like they're more than likely going to be an under team, but I'm going to go slight over. I got a little bit of confidence that Joe Burrow is going to be good right away.
He might be. Under.
Well, not right away.
The division
we've been
is
told that they can't.
Well, they won't win week one.
Pick against them in suicide week one. But other than that.
Yeah. Week one, they'll play the role of Kamala. I'll play the role of Undertaker. The setting will be Wembley Stadium for SummerSlam 92.
The coin is going.
That's a casket match. Under. I just like, even though I was torn on Pittsburgh, like I had that number at 9. So I think that Pittsburgh pushes, and I have the Browns over and the Ravens over. So this team will go under. They might actually be better. They'll still struggle. I don't think they're even going to be, once we get down to it, or even early, they might have a win or two where I don't think they'll be anywhere part of that first overall discussion. Like they're past that. But that's about all I'm going to give them.
If that's the case, then the plus 625 to be one of the 7 best teams of 16 in the AFC. If just they get good luck this season. If they're not going to be like a disaster, like the Dolphins almost like, remember the Dolphins last year? Like they sucked and then all of a sudden they just started winning games and they were so good. The Jets had to carry their kicker off the field when they beat them. Remember that? How pathetic that was? That there's wins to go around. There's a lot of bad teams in the AFC. And I don't think that they're on the level of some of the bad teams.
That's weird.
They're in like I feel like they're in the Raiders zone.
All right, because it appears looking at the master sheet that there's only one team in the conference with a lower win total. So you're obviously seeing this as some value.
Yes. But I'm going to go slight over on it, but I do think that plus 625 to make the playoffs is a better bet than the 5.5 at even money, basically. Tim, we haven't heard from you on the Bengals. You always love the Bengals.
I mean, you made the case for me that I didn't really have to make. Yeah, I'm with you. You said 7 teams make the playoffs. Well, Burrow's probably one of the 7 best QBs in the AFC already, at least if you believe in him as I do. And you put him there. And you mentioned it. They have some real talent on the offensive side of the ball. Boyd, Green, Mixon, if he gets things figured out. Uzama. And then an offensive line, which, is not the greatest, but it's got still some guys who I think improved themselves better than last season. On the defense, Dunlap, Atkins, they've got playmakers, right? Are they the best team in the division? No. Can they make the playoffs? Yeah, I think they could. I think that they will be in the hunt. Come December on Sunday Night Football, you're going to see them in that right column of in the hunt for the playoffs till the bitter end. So yeah, I like the over, and I agree with you. Playoffs, I like that play too.
I'm really intrigued. They're one of the teams to watch out of the gate. I'll be watching them. They'll be playing the Chargers week 1. But what I mean by that is you see in Miami, Fitzpatrick, you see in with the Chargers, there's Tyrod. They cleared the deck there. No one saw this offseason coming as it did. No proper rookie installation, no proper rookie minicamp, no proper rookie orientation. First live bullets coming in. I would be if I was a Bengals fan, I'd be more nervous than excited because it's not fair to my first overall pick to be put in this situation. He should have a chance to breathe.
Yeah, why would should he have to play a 4-12 team?
Let's go. Anything you want.
Unjust.
Anything you want.
Unjust.
Anything you want.
They went 4-12 last year is my point. Like that's what I'm saying is an objective fact.
And guess what? They're going to listen. Sorry. I might have lost what you were saying, but anything you want to go on week 1, I will go with you. No, it's going to be absurd what's going to be pending in my account. It's going to be unhealthy.
So
what
I
will
should
be
just take them
pending?
in suicide with you then.
No, I want you to just bet me.
Because like I have in the past had perfect suicide seasons. So I think I could probably, start my season off pretty healthily that way.
I haven't looked at suicide based on point spreads. I wouldn't say that's the safest pick because it's like a 3.5. But I am fired up. I'm fired up for that draw.
To be fair, on the show, Tim did have a perfect Survivor season and didn't make those picks in his actual Survivor pools and never won a cent.
Never won a cent.
So nice theoretical championship, Tim.
Tim's like the guy that says, I'm going to fill out this lottery ticket, the numbers I would play.
Yeah, I would have won.
Enter him, and then the draw comes through, and he's talking about his W.
For what it's worth, the biggest point spread in week 1 is the Thursday nighter.
What's the game? Pardon my ignorance.
Chiefs Texans.
That's scary too, just cause. But
so who do we got in the North? I got the Steelers. Geoff, you have Baltimore. I assume, Tim, you're on Baltimore as well?
Yeah, George Burns and I have Baltimore.
AFC West. Let's start with the Super Bowl super champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. 11.5, minus 1,000 to make the playoffs, minus 455 to win the division, 3-1 to win the conference, 6-1 to win the Super Bowl. I'm going over with the Chiefs. I think they're great.
Yeah, they're going to win 13
games. It was kind of encouraging last year to see that Mahomes get hurt and they still weren't awful with Matt Moore as their quarterback. Like they were not good, but they weren't bad either.
Who's the backup now? Not that it shouldn't matter.
Is it not Matt Moore still?
I'm pretty sure he left.
I don't know.
You think maybe I should know that?
I'll effort this. Hold on.
I agree with you, Pat. I mean, I picked them to be to crush this thing, like literally 13 or 14 wins. Congratulations, Super Bowl champions. They're doing what Super Bowl champions should do. They are running it all back.
The coin is going under.
They made very little offseason additions. They worked some things to retain Sammy. They obviously had to make the huge contract commitment to Mahomes, and they got Kelsey to take a backloaded deal as well. So they are running it all back as they should. That team, bring it back again. Let's see what can happen. It should be, no reason not.
Moore is
to
the
be
third
excited.
stringer.
The defense
Chad
still
Henne
has
was
holes,
the
though.
backup.
Chad Henne.
The defense still has holes, but Mahomes overcomes for all of them. We've yet to be proven otherwise. San Francisco almost seemed to not make him able to recover from the deficiencies on the rest of the team, but in the end, he won and he lifted the trophy. So there we are. Fuck, it's a problem.
You got the best player in football.
It's a problem.
I'm going to pick over.
Yeah. Thanks for the extra playoff spot.
Keep it simple. So, Tim, you're going?
I'm going to go under because I have 11-5. So just barely, I'm going to take the under on them. I think this is a really good team, but there are 2 overs in this division. I also have, no, not your team, Geoff. And therefore I feel like, I can play the under here. Wouldn't bet it. Don't love it. I think this is an 11-win team. I think this team's going to win the division. I think this team could absolutely win the Super Bowl. But you're asking me to pick 12 wins in the NFL, particularly in this weird year where anything can happen. I would have a lot of trouble, let's say, picking any team to win 12 games, and the Chiefs are as good as they come. That would be any team. Plus, I can't take the Ravens and the Chiefs over. That seems kind of chalky.
If something is right, you take it right. Although we have,
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I just don't. I don't know. One
right.
of those two teams will have some hiccup, I guess. And if the Chiefs going 11-5 is the hiccup, so be it.
Broncos. Over under 7.5, plus 180 to make the playoffs, 9-1 to win this division, plus 2,500 to win the conference, 50-1 to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to let Tim start with this because he thinks that Drew Lock is amazing because he saw him play in primetime last year, which he told us, although it turned out that Drew Lock never played a primetime game. Tim's a liar.
Shall I speak for myself, or would you just like to make all my points for me?
No, let's hear it.
My point will be, so I'm taking the over. I wrote down the 3 players I think that are going to be MVP, that are MVP competitors this year, and Locke is one of the 3. I love Drew Lock this year. I love the Broncos this year. I think this team is crazy talented. I think this team is very underrated. And sleepy. Somehow Denver, which is one of those teams that aren't quite we mentioned earlier, the Dallas, Green Bay, and that type of top tier team. But Denver is like one of the most popular teams in football and a very popular team when they're running. And yet people have been awfully quiet about them this season. But I don't see any reasons for skepticism or for doubt because, I mean, I look at the team. I know Geoff hates Melvin Gordon, but him and Lindsey together, I think, are fine. Sutton, and a fantastic receiver. Judy, the guy I wanted most as a wide receiver coming in the draft. I think that guy is a star. I like Noah Fant. And then on the defensive side, because they have Von Miller, they have Bradley Chubb, they have Kareem Jackson, they have some really good players. AJ Boye on the defensive side. This is a really, really darn good team, and people are not talking about them. They're a playoff team, and I will be picking them to make the playoffs, and I'm taking their over. And I think Locke could have a really special season.
This is basically the same case he made for the Chargers last year when he picked them to win the Super Bowl. They'd have the MVP. They're looking so great, and then they suck. The Broncos are fine. They're a middling team. I'm going under 7-9, 6-10, that kind of thing. If they hit the over, wouldn't stun me, but I don't expect anything special out of them. I mean, you have Joe Burrow, one of the 7 best quarterbacks in the conference. Apparently, Drew Lock's even better than him. I'm curious to hear your power rankings of who the best players in the AFC at quarterback are, but I'll go slight under on the Broncos. Geoff.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's tough 7.5. I could easily see them pulling out the 8, the 9. A lot of moves I really do like.
Their offensive line, which they thought they had improved, not improved.
Horrible. I think
opt-outs, injuries.
I think Drew Lock is actually in trouble this year. I think it was a sort of a late season, bad out of hell thing. I think he's going to get a bit of medicine this year. That's why I'm taking the under. That being said, I do really like the defense. You could argue they still have home field advantage. The altitude is still a thing for them. Even their new players.
That's interesting.
Even their new players can't handle it, apparently.
Fourth and goal on the 1. As long as they don't give the ball to him, they'll win the game.
Yeah, well, listen, according to him, the Chargers system didn't work for him. I'm sure Denver has the fumble on the 1 package also. I love the AJ Boye, Jarrell Casey additions.
Yeah.
As the Chargers were doing some fancy free agent additions, offseason moves of their own, those were 2 very low-profile trades that cost them very little. Boye, they hope he will replace Chris Harris. Jarrell Casey, I've long felt incredibly underrated NFL star in Tennessee on that defensive line. They will put pressure on quarterbacks. Despite the weird things that happened early in the season, like there were clock things, like some really weird end of game things, Fangio showed himself to be one of the better new coaches in the league, I felt, last year. So I don't totally hate on this team, but I don't believe in Drew Lock. And I think that's where it all matters. Under.
Yeah, like I said, 7 wins, 6 wins, that kind of thing. If they got to 10, good for Tim. He hits us over, and that wouldn't surprise me. The Los Angeles Chargers. Up next. Over under 7.5 to make the playoffs, plus 150, 8-1 to win the division, 22-1 to win the conference, 45-1 to win the Super Bowl. Geoff.
I don't want to go first.
Okay. Tim, is there any team better equipped to play without fans than the Los Angeles Chargers?
What a cheap shot. No.
There's fans, they're just not their own.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, it'll be, in some ways, this is an advantage to have no fans in the stand. because there won't be 6,000 Chiefs fans at each of their games. So I'll give you that. I don't know. I like this team, but I don't love this team, and I don't think they get there over. I have come around on them from the start of the year where I thought they were going to be super terrible to that. They're just going to be meh, 6-10, maybe 7-9, but I will play the under. I don't mind Tyrod. I think he's fine, but I don't know where you're going with him. I don't know that I don't trust that the defense is going to stay healthy for 16 games, and nobody should because we've never seen it. So why am I supposed to assume it's going to happen? I don't think their coaching is great. I think their offense is worse than it was the last couple of years. So, I don't know what to tell you. I think this team crested 2 years ago when they lost in the playoffs. That was their window. The window's closed, and they're sort of betwixt in between a rebuild and not quite yet a rebuild. And so I think we're still seeing some growing pains and a moment of transition. With that, I will turn the floor over to Geoff.
I'm actually going to hop in, and I'm going to take the over 7.5 on the Chargers. I like Tyrod, and I think that he's going to end up being their starter all season. We're not going to see Saint Hebert's chicken whatsoever, because if they do, the under is definitely hitting if we see Herbert at any point this season. He's going to come in because they're 1-6 or something. This defense is good. It's one of the best defenses in the league, not only the AFC. Now,
they don't play.
That's the issue. It's like, it's no different than your case that Wentz is an MVP candidate. It's like, yeah, it's great when he plays.
At least he gets in December
and he's not banged up. So at least right now, no one on the
Chargers. When did those injuries happen?
Before the season.
We are 10 days away from making it.
The offensive line's pretty good now too. As opposed to other years where all of a sudden, last year when you looked at it, it's like, oh, they got these names and then they're all hurt. At least now, they're all right. And Rivers threw them out of games last year. Rivers wasn't good last year. Stats were fine. The downfield throwing efficiency was very good. So he's going to be great this year. And he made some terrible passes and terrible decisions.
I remember the dog died.
Mexico City game.
My dog died.
That Mexico game is burned in my brain.
Yeah, that's the day my dog died.
But at the same time, they can win games 20-17. That's how they're going to have to win games. And when you have someone like Taylor at quarterback, he can grind clocks down for you. He's going to be mobile. He's going to he's going to run for a few first downs along the way. He's not a bad deep ball passer. I don't think he's going to be check down city to the running backs as an efficiency type of thing like Rivers was. I think that hurts Eckler a little bit, but if the defense is going to be good, you just need them to put up 24 points and you can win more than half your games or win half your games. And that's all you need to do to hit this over. The plus 150 on the playoff seems kind of crazy to me because I think they are the second best team in this division behind the Chiefs on a pure talent basis. But it depends on what you think about Tyrod. If you think Tyrod sucks, then smash the under. I think he's all right. I think he's a very competent quarterback. He's not great.
Who was once benched for Nathan Peterman, I should add.
Yes, and maybe Nathan Peterman would have been great. They still made the playoffs that year too, by the way, with Tyrod, despite giving away a game to Nathan Peterman.
Just making that point, that's all, that he was benched for him at one point.
Okay. Did they make the playoffs that year?
They did, and he did not play very well in that playoff.
No, but they made the playoffs.
I like Tyrod fine.
They were a bad team, and they made the playoffs because of him. He is a good
one weapon. Name one weapon on that Bills team that made the playoffs. Who other than McCoy?
LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
This Chargers team is that Bills team. Good defense, mediocre offense. Tyrod throws the ball away constantly.
On offense that team didn't have.
Yeah, you guys have to win based on your defense keeping you in games, turnovers. That's how I kind of see it.
I just want to say before I get going, I would say the Chargers skill position players are exponentially better than that skill position group in Buffalo.
Was that year. The Woods and Watkins year? Were those guys gone already?
I think Watkins was gone. Okay. I said if you watch the NFC show, I sometimes see myself as that person in that viral internet video that says it's still real to me, damn it, at a wrestling convention. The emotions, I'm feeling them. They are raw. It is unnerving. Let me just break down how insane I am. The Chargers are my mom. Phillip Rivers is my dad. It was a very clean divorce. It was we're just not right for each other. You like what you do.
Still
I've got to do something, do it. We're still friends. We even, he even let mom keep the house and he just left early. And we let him go find something new. We'll get there in a second. But now I'm me and there's mom. And she's dating someone that that just got out of school and doesn't look like dad, and it's very like weird for me. It's very weird. But then there's dad who just moved to the Midwest, got a new family, and he seems to be doing just fine. So what am I doing? I moved in with my mom's cool uncle. That's my defense. It's going to be amazing. It's going to end people. There are players at every single level. I can only be excited about this defense. I don't know what's going to happen on the offense. I'm scared. It's different. But the defense is going to be dominant at every single level, in every single way. We've brought in Linval Joseph. I mean, we made some great additions, but we brought in Linval Joseph and Chris Harris. I will say Brendan Mebane played nose tackle for me, Joey Bosa's entire career. Brendan Mebane, by the advanced numbers, would probably rate out as the worst starting nose tackle in football over the past 2 years. And he had some horrible offseason some personal stuff off the field that no person, father, parent should ever have to deal with, and my heart breaks for him and his family. But he was a liability in the middle. We got gashed on the run, but his presence will make Bosa better. I am certain of it, and that is scary. Chris Harris gets to play in my slot, gets to play in my corner opposite Casey Hayward. Derwin James gets to play his 3 positions. We are going to be lightning out there. We are going to be lightning, and I can't wait for it. The offense, you said it, Pat. Your determination is pretty much about Tyrod. I mean, what you think Tyrod is going to do, that's what's going to matter.
Especially because we haven't seen him in a while, too, is the whole thing. Like, just because Tyrod in your mind got benched for Baker in Cleveland a few years ago, like, that guy was okay.
I'm not going to
he was a good player, but we haven't seen him.
He wasn't okay. He was horrendous in Cleveland. But
Cleveland was horrendous.
I'm not going to make the case for Tyrod. I'm just about to tell the truth. And from that, you can make your case. And I agree with you. If Herbert plays, the season is so cluster fucked. Because they need Tyrod.
And you haven't even taken into consideration yet stupid special teams mistakes that'll lose games, bad head coaching decisions that are going to lose games. You have to factor like 3 of those into the Chargers.
Am I worried that with this no preseason, who is going to embarrass themselves the most week 1? It's my special teams. We are going to do something insane. And I'm scared. Case for Tyrod. The last time we saw him was those 3 games under Hugh Jackson. It was an abomination. You can't say that's Tyrod, because before that he led a horrible offense in Buffalo to the playoffs carried by the defense, as we mentioned similarities. So he's probably somewhere in between that. But here's the truth of the matter. For his career, I believe he's 1 game over 500. I think it's 43, 42, and 1. No, that's way too many games. What's his career win line? I had it here, but I don't have it right now. Career touchdown to interception, though, to your point, 54 and 20. That's what I'm looking at. That's what Tyrod Taylor is. You mentioned it, the ball control. We're going to slow the game down a bit. We never got to the line of scrimmage fast before. We're not going to get there faster now, even though the league is changing to get to the line of scrimmage faster. I don't think Lynn wants to do that.
Well, it'd be a lot for him to absorb if 2 plays had to happen within 45 seconds. Whoa, so slow it down a little bit. I don't know what's going on here. 63, where'd you go?
We are going to win this game with defense and ball control and not turning those overs. If that 54-20 touchdown interception ratio plays itself for the Chargers this year, we are going to be fine. 1-score games. The crescendo season Tim talks about from 2 years ago, I think we were literally 9-2 in 1-score games. Last year, it all backfired. It went the other way. And you said it in your season preview about us last year. I'm going on the under because they caught every break in every 1-score game last year. Remember all the comebacks, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, them all, but it's all going to flip. And last year, it literally did. It was 2-9 in 1-score games. We had the ball. Phillip threw a pick. This entire league is dependent on 1-score games. We're going to play a hell of a lot of them. Over.
Tim, do you want to go through the Chargers schedule here and see what you think?
That is a fun game to play.
I hate this game.
Because we know the Jets we know Geoff will pick them to win or cover all 16 games this year.
Yes, if you watch the pick show every single week, Geoff picks the Chargers to cover the spread every single week.
I don't pick the Jets every week. I do not pick the Jets every week. I will pick against them sometimes.
So the Los Angeles Chargers, let's do this. We got The Cincinnati Bengals, week 1, Tim.
We better give them a win to keep the peace.
Keep the peace, and I'll tell you, I don't know how the season's going to go. I do not know. But I know for 3.5 hours, week 1, how it's going to go.
So we'll give the Bolts a win. Okay.
Chiefs, week 2.
Chocolate level.
That's an L.
Yeah.
Panthers, week 3. You're a Panthers, Tim.
No.
Yeah, I think that's an L.
Tampa Bay, week 3.
All right, so they're 1-3 now.
Saints, week 4.
2-3.
Okay, the win against the Saints, a good win. Jets. Oh, that's going to be a fun week for the show.
Where's the game? In Gotham or in LA?
Does it matter?
Does it matter?
Yes, it does to me. Is this like a West Coast team at 2 o'clock playing?
It is a quote unquote home game for the Chargers.
Okay, so I'm going to take the Jets, but Chargers could win.
What did you need the questions for?
I will definitely have taken the Jets had it been the other way.
Yeah. Now, so the next week at the Dolphins.
That's a W.
Okay. At home against the Jags.
W.
All right, back to 500, second half charge.
Home against the Raiders.
Home against the Raiders, W.
All right. We're up to 5-4. At the Denver Broncos.
That's a loss.
At the Buffalo Bills.
That's a loss.
At home against the Patriots.
That's a win.
At home against the Falcons.
That's a loss.
At the Las Vegas Raiders.
That's a loss.
At home against the Broncos.
That's a loss.
At the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's a loss.
6-10 is what Tim has.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's what he said he thinks they'll do. Whatever.
7 wins is there. 8 wins maybe.
I think they could. There's an extra playoff spot. I don't see any reason if the 1-score games go our way, we're not in contention for that. And this is probably the most competitive division in the AFC when you consider there's not a preseason win total below 7. And the best team in the conference is also in the division. I don't know. I'm excited for that race between all these teams. Like I said, I like the moves Denver made this offseason. I thought they made some fancy moves outside of a running back.
Fancy moves.
I like the moves the Chargers made this offseason. Brian Beluga, Trey Turner, Linval Joseph, Chris Harris, a quality draft.
An upgraded quarterback.
Less interceptions at quarterback, but probably more sacks, which I'm worried about.
But more rushing yards.
More rushing yards. And the Raiders they got a linebacker I like in the offseason, and I think they can be competitive. So this division will be competitive. I think that's a fun little race to see who will finish behind the behind the Chiefs, and whoever finishes second will go to the postseason.
Yes, Mr. Fienberg, I think the Raiders are a pretty good team.
Who's that? Because I certainly can't tell.
You don't know Milton Berle?
I thought that was a Morgan Freeman impression from Shawshank Redemption. I thought I was going to have to cut that out.
You don't know Milton Berle, one of the funniest men of the 20th century. Come on now, Mr. Fienberg.
So
this is good material. I don't care what you say. This is good material. I've been working on these the last couple of days for the show. New one. George Burns, Milton Berle. I have a Lucille Ball ready for later. I've been working on these.
The Las Vegas Raiders. Over under 7 wins. Plus 225 to make the playoffs, plus 1,200 to win the division, 30-1 to win the conference, and 66-1 to win the Super Bowl. The over was taken by 3 of us, including the coin for the Chargers, and under for Tim. So I have one of 2 ways to think about this. 1, don't love the Raiders whatsoever. But are they going to get the same sort of treatment that the Las Vegas Golden Knights got in their first season, where all these opposing teams come to town and just kill themselves in Vegas? Or will the bubble prevent that from happening?
Yeah, not.
We'll have to wait. Remember that for next year, because people like the Vegas shine is maybe off, but next year will be the first time they can actually do Vegas.
That could be a real and listen,
yeah.
Do you really think you're going to monitor all 100 people on a football team? This could be the biggest home field advantage in football. But it's also the first year that they're there too. You don't think that people are going to be out? Didn't Logan Couture claimed he got punched out?
Yeah, but he was in Toronto.
In Toronto, but he's also not supposed to be outside of the bubble. So was he outside the bubble, or was he making this up?
That's a fair question.
But won't the Raiders be also susceptible to bubble? They're the ones that are most tempted.
Because they're
there
the
guys in Buffalo. Where are you going, Dave and Buster's? Like, that's their option. I can stay in this room or I can go to Dave & Buster's.
They're going to that Walmart across from the Ralph.
In Vegas, you got a lot more options as to like what it might be worth. The risk reward of leaving the bubble to go to the Rhino might be different. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there is going to be some sort of factor with Las Vegas being in play this time around. I just don't know how it works itself out.
But it probably this year affects the Raiders worse, and next year and future years we can start picking on the visiting teams potentially.
I agree with that.
I'm going to go under 7. I think they're probably around a 7-win team, but I went over with the Chargers, slightly under with the Broncos, over with the Chiefs. I'll go slightly under with the Raiders. They're okay, but
I think you pick them under every single year.
I'm usually right. I was wrong last year. But maybe Mariota ends up starting for them. They're a lot
He
better.
could.
I just don't believe in Derek Carr. I don't think he's very good. I don't think he's bad. But when you said that Drew Lock and Joe Burrow are top 7 quarterbacks in the AFC, Derek Carr is like in Tyrod territory, except the Raiders don't have an awesome defense.
I like their offense better, though. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I think I will go over because I think they're an 8-8 team or even a 7-9 team. So maybe you get the push here, but I'm going to play the over. I do like Carr maybe more than you do. I like some of the offensive weapons more than you. I don't love Higgins, the guy they drafted. Or Ruggs, the guy they drafted, and I don't think that was the right play. But say what you will, I still think they have some ballers, and who knows? I don't really have a strong feeling on this. So
Mariota plays, and it's going to be by like week 6.
Well,
I
that's
don't
the
think
case that they're
Mariota's
not hitting
gonna,
the over. They might be good.
Yeah,
they might be better with Mariota, but if he is in the game, they're like 0-6 to start the season.
Yeah, I don't see Mariota getting that job.
But you nailed it. I kind of do see some comps to like their ability to succeed with the Chargers, but they don't have the defense that can just win the game.
Yeah.
The week they score like 10 points, they can win 10-7, 13-10, like that type of game in LA. I don't know that the Raiders can.
The Raiders, especially now, because they might be starting Brian Edwards on the outside too, because Tyrell Williams has this labrum problem. So they bring back Waller. Waller's pretty good. Jacobs is fine between the tackles. They brought in a whole bunch of scat backs.
Great line, though.
In a good line. Listen, Ruggs could be awesome. He's super fast. Edwards is super fast as well. They could be a speed
They've
team.
got Aguilar, your main man.
That's your guy, Nelson Aguilar. Hands for days. But are they going to run like a super high pace offense under Gruden? I don't think so. They'll run like it was like last year when they would look really good for 2 of the 4 quarters, like quarter 1 and quarter 4. They would look great, and they would just be abysmal in the second and third quarter. Like they have no consistency. It ever feels like both offensively and defensively, and I think that's going to be a real problem with what you said could be the best division in the AFC. Like they're not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but they could end up 4-12.
Yeah.
No, they're not the Dolphins or Steelers or something.
What? The Steelers.
Hate that team.
Anyway, let's pick the winner. I'm going Casey. Are we all going Casey?
Yeah, we're going KC.
Yeah,
I will
Kansas
say, every team in this division, I liked offseason additions they made to try to close the gap, but Kansas City is so far ahead. So far ahead.
From the best division in the AFC to what is probably the worst division in the AFC. The AFC East. Over under 8.5 wins for the New England Patriots with Cam Newton presumably as their starting quarterback. Minus 177 to win the playoffs. Plus 130 to win the division. They are not favored to win this division, by the way. 11-1 to win the conference. 18-1 to win the Super Bowl. Over 8.5 wins for the New England Patriots. Boom. That was easy. Free money.
I'm joining you. I'll wait for it not to happen before I'll pick it.
Yeah, I actually kind of, the coin is going under, and we know that Tim is going under, but if Cam is actually healthy, and that's a big ask, I think this offense is going to be better than it was last year. The defense is the thing that really worries me. Like, it was so good last year, so you would have to mark in natural regression for it not being that good again, and like half their defense opted out. But I think Cam can overcome, and this division's just not good. Maybe they can win this division at 8-8. I don't know, but I'm not scared of any one of the other 3 teams here. Like, I think one of them's bad, 2 of them are like, and the Patriots are probably plus.
But Newton, in my opinion, also raises their floor.
Agreed.
Yeah, because Carolina never had a bad year with him.
No, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm more confident in how that they won't go as low as potentially a guy I've never seen play before.
Yeah,
and Cam Newton, healthy, motivated,
Sure,
with a
I
great
guess.
coaching staff, I'll believe. All right, give it to us, pal.
This team doesn't have any talent on the offensive side of the ball.
They have Cam Newton.
So Newton's okay. He's 5 years removed from MVP.
Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate 3 years ago. He's great. Cam Newton won the MVP 4 years ago. He sucks.
His team has been to the playoffs the last 3 years straight, including he got his team to the playoffs last year by himself. Who's Newton throwing to? Washed up Julian Edelman, N'Keal Harry, who didn't show much promise last year at all, Sanu, who was one of the worst midseason trades you've seen in NFL history in quite a while in terms of what the return they got for the draft pick they gave away. This team only succeeds on the back of its defense. That and that alone is its ticket to the playoffs. Half the guys opted out, and the guys who stayed, you expect some significant statistical regression. This is why the elite stat guys say that teams that are premised on defense are less likely to stay around in the long term because defense is far less predictable than offense. So the Patriots have elected to build their team in that way, part because they had to, and part because that's the way that Belichick, who is a defensive coach, wanted to build the team. And, if you want to say Newton's an upgrade on Brady, I think he isn't, but whatever. He's certainly no better than Brady was. And that team last year offensively struggled to score points. And I look at an offense that hasn't added any talent whatsoever beyond, Newton, and you're expecting this offense to somehow get better. I think that's magical thinking. I think that's divorced from reality. Could they win 9 wins? Yes, it is possible. I think whoever gets to 9 wins in this division probably wins it. I think all the teams here have a couple of issues. I mean, one team is, I think, very underrated and could win 11, 12, 13, 14 games. But the Patriots are not that team. The Patriots, again, I think are middling to blah, like you said, but not blah plus. I'd say blah to blah minus if we're using that very high, technical grading system. So I'm going to play the under. But if the defense catches fire, that alone is their path to success.
Best case scenario for the Patriots, they have the best offensive player in the division. They have the best defensive player in the division. That's very much on the table. Cam can be the best offensive player at his heights in this division. And if that happens and they can build an offense around what he does well, that allows more running lanes for the running backs. I just think it's funny that Brady leaves and you're still out just cursing the Patriots. Don't you just want them to go away eventually? Like you said that
they went away last year. They humiliated themselves at the end of the year to lose the Dolphins, not get a bye. Then they allowed a quarterback who threw 6 times against them to beat them at home.
I like what you consider humiliation versus like what's good and what's bad.
And versus lifting your kicker off the field, beating this Dolphins
He made
team.
7 field goals in that game. That was really impressive. I don't care. I support that 100%.
So I feel like your levels of what's pathetic and what's not are really out of whack here.
So, like, if you guys won a game and a receiver caught 7 passes, like, I don't understand.
Remember when they lost 500? Remember when they lost 500-0 to the Patriots? The Jets did? Because Sam was scared of ghosts.
Yeah. Again, whatever. That defense played great that day. That is the only path the Patriots have to this division. And I'm not saying it isn't there. But I'm saying it may be easier for Campbell to fit through the eye of a needle.
If the Jets needed 10 tough yards on 3 carries, they'd go to you, though, right?
I forgot about that. If people don't know, Tim, you actually explain it. I think this is just magical thinking.
I don't know. A couple weeks ago, you know what? In 2020, I have the sense of time I have is gone. This could have been 4 days ago. This could have been 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when this was, but there was sort of a thing flying around the Twitters of if someone gave you 3 carries in the NFL, how many yards would you gain? And I said, if you give me 3 carries with an NFL offensive line, getting you a first down. And you see all the time in games, massive holes that guys are blocking. And we all say when we watch these games, man, I could have run through that hole. And that's because you could.
No one is saying that, apparently, besides you. There are NFL running backs that don't average 3 yards a carry.
Well, I ain't saying it's easy. But I'm saying,
but you're going to do it.
If you gave me a little bit of time to get into camp shape, and you gave me an offensive line from the NFL to block for me, I'm telling you,
you'd be gone.
3 carries.
I would say that
first down. And so are you. And so are Jeff.
No, I'm not. I'll tell you. You know what? I would actually gain like 5,000 yards because I would initiate contact and then I'd be in an ambulance going to the hospital.
Tim, there is video evidence of you running a 40.
You realize
people have seen this on the internet.
Like, okay, forgetting
you run a
I'm wearing blue
like a
jeans.
5.87
plus
40.
7 second
7
40.
seconds.
you have to realize at least one of these
And
carries,
you're soft as hell.
at least one of these carries, if not multiple, you're literally getting blown up for a loss of 4.
I played tackle football. I learned how to take
The fact that you have to call it tackle football leads me to believe you probably weren't very good.
Didn't you only play for 1 year?
Yes, but I played both sides. So I basically played like 2 years.
What positions did you play?
Center and defensive end.
Okay.
Your feet-
And
ready for running
what
back.
did your team go that year?
I think we won 2 games.
Tim, your feet
But I scored a
wouldn't.
touchdown.
Your
As
feet
the center,
would.
I snapped the ball to the quarterback. The quarterback fumbled my snap. It fell forward on the goal line, and I landed on it for a touchdown.
Your
I
feet
got a flag
wouldn't
for spiking.
even get forward. Like your feet wouldn't even start moving forward before you're enclosed and moving backwards.
See, I don't think that's true. I mean,
What?
people overestimate how far 10 yards is. It's not that far.
You can't.
you think about
There's a
it,
chance
10
you
yards
can't.
with 11 defenders that want to kill you and they get paid to feed their family by
So
preventing
my
you-
running back, my blockers get paid the same amount of money as does my fullback. Like,
But you're
like
like,
the
oh,
I-
there's holes. Like, yeah, sometimes they make holes and sometimes those guys in front of you lose their footing and it's an ugly scene.
You might get
I-
hit before you have a chance to get the handoff. You're so fucking slow.
I would die.
There is a chance you can't throw a football 10 yards, let alone run 10 yards.
I would dive forward with the ball before I'd allow myself to get tackled.
The problem is
I-
these guys are just as freaking big of you and can hold you up probably.
I mean, just as big as you.
Well, he's huge.
He's not as big as NFL defensive linemen.
No, I'm not that big.
No, but
My only-
he's saying he's gotten to the second level.
He has 1/1,000,000th of the athleticism of anyone in the NFL, including Sebastian
Tim, do
Janikowski.
you want to know how honestly I feel about this? I think you have a better chance of surviving in the Arctic than you do of
He
getting
has a better
10
chance
yards
of jumping
free.
from space, like
Yeah.
he said, than gaining 10 yards in the NFL. Are you
You'd be
fucking kidding me?
you would feel like you've never felt before after 1 foot.
Do you have brain damage we don't know about?
I walk one game from playing golf and I'm sore for like a day and a half later just from having walked the course.
What do you think? How do you think you'd feel if Khalil Mack blows you up in like open field?
Well, I would try to
You'd
spin
actually
and
be
away
injured.
from him.
He'd kill you.
You'd get
You'd
spiked
absolutely
up.
kill
Obviously,
you.
I'm not a moron. I'd see him coming and I try to like shoulder.
You're
him.
not a
You're
moron.
No,
You
you're
wouldn't.
saying
You have an
you're saying
offensive
you're
line.
not
You
a
wouldn't
moron.
see until you
You
enter the
think
gap,
that if
and you would
you
absolutely
spun,
crush you.
if you literally tried to pull a spin on an NFL field, you think you'd make it around? Like, you think you wouldn't get torqued before? Like, you think your face would turn back the way it started? Or you'd be exploded on your first revolution?
I think if you made a pretty tight turn, that you'd be okay.
There's nothing tight about the turn. You can't even cartwheel.
There's also nothing tight about you.
Okay.
I don't mean to
I
make
po-
this like personal shots, but the take
No,
is
no,
so
I don't
the
mind.
take is so literally insane that I then have to dissect your personal
That's
situation.
fine. I think you'd get it too, though, Jeff. It's not just me. I think if I gave you
No.
3 carries, you're getting 10 yards.
See, I
do
think I'm
believe that.
losing 15, 5 a time.
Just praying you don't get hurt. So outrageous. And
That
what
would get like 20 yards.
are you talking about?
I think you'd slip free and then you'd be gone for like a first down. Your
Slip
first carry.
free.
So I ran the 40 the same time Tim did. So I ran it, I think, in 5.23. That would make me like the slowest person in the NFL.
You would like literally, I'm imagining you receiving the handoff. Your feet would like twinkle toe for like a third of a second.
I don't think you would get to the handoff. I really don't.
No, I could think he
He's
could.
slow off the draw. Like running backs are hitting the hole like in stride, perfect timing, just to get up to the line so they're not blown up in the backfield. You think Tim's doing that?
Go just make it a direct snap then.
He's running
Wildcat.
Wildcat with Tim. Let's see.
Wild
runs
top
a set.
cat.
Chain smoker, smokes 2 packs a day, runs over a 7-second 40. But yeah, 10 yards on 3. Anyway, so you're taking the under on the Patriots, Tim?
I am.
I'm excited to see what their offense looks like. This
Of
could all
course,
go horribly
yeah.
wrong. I'm just excited to
I
see
know,
like
I'm
a different look.
excited.
I'm excited to see the Bengals and the Patriots, like for just different reasons.
Well, Paul, you're a Bills fan, so you have invested interest in this. Do you like that all of a sudden Tim is back on? They're going to be the worst team of all time?
I don't think I said that.
Yeah, I don't enjoy. I actually agreed with Tim on a bunch of things, though.
Like that he could run.
I don't
10
think
yards?
the offense is very good.
Like agreed that he would get 10 yards.
I mean, I would have
preferred.
preferred to have Jared Stidham being the quarterback for the New England Patriots. But I mean, isn't Cam Newton just bad Josh Allen?
I'd say he's good, Josh Allen.
I would say he's bad Josh Allen.
Right,
He's
well,
I don't know, has Josh
injured,
Allen ever looked at-
broken.
Has Josh Allen been in a big game where there was a fumble in front of him and he chose not to dive on it instead of trying to win a game? Or
No,
Super
but he
Bowl?
did like
Sam
lateral
been
a
to the
ball like
playoffs?
backwards for no reason in a playoff game. I'm not trying to pick
No,
on
but-
Josh, but
Who's Cam going to give the ball to in Patriots game so that he can get on camera? Is he going to give it to the referee?
I forgot how
No,
much you hate
he's-
Cam Newton. I
Oh,
totally forgot.
shit.
This is the perfect. Hates the Patriots, hates Cam
There's
Newton.
no
They're going
kid for
they're
Cam
going
to
like
give-
14 and 2
there's no
this year.
kid for Cam to give a ball to, so he thinks it's negatively going to affect the Patriots or something.
Cam helping out the community. Tim hates the community. Hates kids. Wants to blow smoke in their face. Buffalo Bills. Over under 8.5 wins. Playoffs minus 182. Division plus 120. 12-1 to win the conference. 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. One of the reasons, yeah, they're the favorite to win this division. One of the reasons I like the Patriots this year is I don't think the Bills are any good. The Bills, like the Jets and the Dolphins, and even the Patriots last year, were completely fraudulent based on the fact they played by far the easiest schedules in the league. The Bills are fine, but again, if the defense regresses a little bit, I like Allen for fantasy. In real life, he's fine. He got away with a lot of smoke and mirrors last year.
Yeah, I'm really torn because part of me just wants to blindly take the under, saying now the Bills like have expectations.
People are like on the Bills too.
And we're in the region where we could sort of feel positive vibes, and they're super like people are hyper excited. Their expectations I'm almost feeling are too high, and just like what I know of this franchise, people can say the same about mine. They're just gonna let them down now that expectations have reached that high point.
I will throw out that the Bills are probably the most entertaining team in football to watch because every time Josh Allen drops back, you have no idea what's going to happen. It could be a 80-yard laser to someone, or he could throw the ball backwards.
I don't like reading his desire, like him saying he wants to run less. I get that, but he better hit like a 71% clip on completing his passes if the team can actually hold on by him running less.
And 100% of his backwards passes.
One thing I will give them is I think McDermott's a really good coach.
Really good coach.
And that
depth.
and that helps, especially in times like this. They do bring in Diggs, and I think that should improve their offense. I'm not saying like 2-14 bad, but like 7-9, not shocking if the Bills go 7-9.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's like the floor on the Bills is high. I'm not like calling any floor. I just like now seeing how football treats fans that get expectations. Seen it too long.
The coin is going under. I'm going under. Geoff, you're going under?
I'm going under, but I like a lot of things here. I really do.
The pieces are here to be a good team.
Yeah,
I just
do.
don't think that they fulfill those expectations.
And I'm not betting. It's not like I want to put real money on picking on the Bills. I have no intention of that. But for the purposes of this show and for it to be accounted and told me how I did next year when we record one, I'll take the under.
Also, playing in Buffalo, like you mentioned, no better team to be like a part of. You can't go out. Like, where are you going to go?
Yeah, but that's a
Blue
good
Jays game.
thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You won't get some random like COVID like offensive line is now all out because 3 of them went to Wild Wing.
I believe it would be Applebee's.
Anchor Bar.
Tim heard Anchor Bar once, and now he thinks it's the place.
This is where
the
they invented
best-
Buffalo wings.
Everyone who is from Buffalo
Yeah.
who has reached out to you on this Anchor Bar sucks.
Yeah,
I believe
Thinks
the
they have
Applebee's
the best
was
wings in the
Marshawn
world.
Lynch's
He's
favorite
never
restaurant
tried them.
when he's there.
That's like literally saying America Online is the best way to use the internet because they like invented
Well,
this.
Did you know that Tim still uses Internet Explorer?
No, but he might use web crawler.
No, he uses Internet Explorer. I'm shocked he doesn't use Alta Vista. Anyway, Tim, are you going over or under?
under.
Round of unders.
Oh, they're gonna
Ring
go
that
over
bell.
now. I would. I wish I could switch. Let me switch.
What does I'm
Over.
curious what
Over.
John
I'll
Paul
be with
Shaughnessy
Paul.
thinks.
I'll be with Paul.
You'll go over?
Over.
My only concern is that we don't have, I mean, Geoff always alludes to it, the Hornet's Nest. Going into Buffalo, that crowd, home field advantage is a real thing in Buffalo. That is my only concern.
Do we know? if
I have
they're
Josh
letting fans
Allen,
in or not?
MVP, 40-1 already this year. We're making the playoffs. We're running through this division. It's our season, baby. It's happening. I was concerned when Tre'Davious White was thinking of not playing. We need him. Not that the Patriots have any wide receivers that we have to cover, or really the Jets. I mean,
No, but
I
you don't
guess
wanna
we could have
lose
gotten
your-
by. We could have gotten by, but we're running over this division. This is our year.
I actually don't think they could have gotten by with him. He's that good and a bit of a difference maker. It is like, I guess now thinking about the whole fans thing, it's kind of a shame in many ways that one thing I always enjoyed on Monday was like the compilation video that like
power bombs?
internet sites put together of all the debauchery from the parking lot. Yes, power bombs. Yes, fire. But also a little bit of candy, a little bit of like action. Like you never knew what you were gonna get from like the
People
Ralph.
funneling creme liqueur in the parking lot.
Yeah, like you never knew, and I always kind of enjoyed it, even though it felt a bit played at this point. Like it seemed like it peaked out, but it's still
played
a thing.
because it got attention brought to it. But like the people who were tailgating at the
Yeah,
Ralph,
it's not played for them.
no, it's not played for them. This
Yeah,
is just what they're
it's
doing
still-
every week.
Yeah, it's
They were
real-
setting tables on fire and jumping through them. Of course, it was being talked about.
and I truly believe.
Remember when they shipped the tables to Jacksonville for the playoffs?
Like tailgating is fun. You could do it at a lot of places.
Tim and I had fun at the Ralph tailgate.
Yeah, but my
Quite
point
a
being
bit.
is what goes on in Buffalo. Like you'd be like, well, I don't want to go to Buffalo for a game. I'm telling you, as it pertains to pro football, what happens around that stadium in the hours before kickoff is an endangered species as it pertains to the NFL.
Yeah, when I went to a Dolphins game, the
It's amazing.
tailgate was very, very, very chill in Miami.
Well, that's because they
Yeah.
were just they basked in the glory of the coolest named stadium in football, Tim, Hard Rock Stadium.
That's a really, really cool name.
Sure. Miami Dolphins.
All right.
My favorite football team. I forget how the song goes now.
Miami's
From
got the
goal- from
Dolphins.
goal to goal.
My
My
favorite football team.
They run the ball from coast to coast like no one's
No,
ever
goal
seen.
to goal like no one's ever seen.
That's
They're in
right.
the-
We're always
they're
in
on the ground.
control.
They're
And
always-
when we're thinking
Yeah.
Dolphins, we're talking Super Bowl. We are the
they're
Miami
the
Dolphins.
Dolphins.
I wish you guys let me sing the
Number
old
one.
Supercharger song.
It's actually better than the
San
Superchargers. It's probably the best
Diego
football song.
Superchargers.
San Diego
Superchargers.
Superchargers. San Diego Chargers. San Diego Superchargers. San Diego Chargers. Charge. We're coming.
That's a
your
good
way.
impression there, Geoff, of the
We're
song.
gonna
This is
dazzle
Lucille
you
Ball.
with our play.
Wait, well, hold on. That was your Lucille Ball impression?
Yeah, that was Lucille Ball.
I mean, your
Remember when I was
Lucille,
putting those chocolates in my mouth? That was a good one.
your Lucille Ball impression actually sounds more like Richard Nixon than your Richard Nixon impression does.
I don't think that's true, Patrick. My Nixon's pretty good.
Thunderbolts and lightning will light up the sky.
We're off the rails now.
Is it as good as Arnie's Army?
Dolphins, let me start, unless you haven't given the numbers.
I have not. 6.5 over under plus 335 to make the playoffs, plus 8.5 to win the division, 40 to 1 to win the conference, 80 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. They're going over and they are in contention to win this division.
They're going to win 5 or 6 games, and they're going to be the team. They're much better than they were last year, but they're still, last year they overachieved, and this year they'll be pretty much the same. They'll win the same amount
Every
of
time
games.
they won last year, you couldn't believe it.
They'll win the same amount of games, but they are a better team, a better franchise, certainly going in the right direction.
I think that they have gotten better on both sides of the ball. I don't really know what to make of Tua as of right now, but if Fitzmagic's going to be their quarterback, that's fine. I like Flores. I think
Great
Flores
coach.
is a good coach, and like I've talked about on both these shows, this season particularly, the coaching is going to matter. Having a good coach is going to matter, and getting people fired up for some of these games is going to matter. They play for him. They really do. And he gets better effort out of lesser talent, at least last year, from just even seeing year one of it, than like 90% of coaches. That's going to make a difference this year.
Last year they got
I wish it was higher than 8.5 to 1 to win the division, but again, I don't think this division's good. They could win 9 games in this division.
I agree with everything you said, but I do strongly believe, I'll die on the hill, that they the motivation, they were so aided last year by the entire world, essentially calling them tankers, losers, doing this on purpose, those trades that they made. That like emboldened them, in my opinion. I don't think they have that this year. But like you said, they've got better players. They made some nice signings. They made some nice additions. For getting the Tua pick, they still have 2 other first-round picks that can come in and make impacts because they had a ton of draft picks. Everything.
Their secondary got better after they got rid of Fitzpatrick. All of a sudden, they replenished that.
Well, they signed the big boy from Dallas, so they pay big bucks. But again, organization, arrow up, win total, identical.
They could be the team that's. I think that they have the potential to be the team that's early on being good. Like you're saying, like, oh, in 2 years they could be really good based on what they're doing. I feel like they're a team that
because football's conducive to just being good. Like there's a plan, like other sports, there's a path, but in football, like no, it's just
like all of a sudden, oh, we're just good, and it's the ripe division to do that in.
See, I've seen a lot of people debating popular picks are Miami and the Giants. You obviously like Miami for that.
Yeah, I do not like the Giants. Tim, are you going over under on Miami?
Under, but not heavily. I take your point about Flores. I think he's an excellent coach. But that being said, that roster is not that much better than it was last season. In fact, they won, and I think Geoff was right that they did win a couple of games last year. You wouldn't have expected them to win. 6 wins, 5 wins. I mean, 7's not out of the question, I guess. I mean, really, anyone in this division could win 9 games and win the division. I'll cop to that. I'll stipulate that that's true. But I just don't think this Dolphins team is it.
Okay. Under. So I'm the only one going over on the Dolphins.
But let me ask. So they're going to be amazing. Like they're going to be really good without even Tua playing yet?
I think they can be fine with Fitzpatrick.
No, but like you're saying, like win the division.
Yeah. I don't know if I would want higher than 8.5 to 1, considering you're getting 25 to 1 on some teams, but I don't think that's unrealistic.
It's like Drew Brees and the Chargers winning the division.
But the difference here, Pat, is the question marks about the 2 favorites.
Yeah, no, I understand why it is where it is. I would wish it was a bit higher.
Like there's no Baltimore that you're getting that Bengal number.
But like plus 335 to make the playoffs?
With the extra spot, second place is very attainable. The second place teams are all going to line up to get playoff spots.
Well, yeah, because if like the Patriots or Bills are bad, the Jets are going to be bad. So the Dolphins would be second or first. That would probably get them into the playoffs.
You know what? I don't mind that. I do say under, but if you want to take a shot with them to squeak that playoff spot, I can't hate on that.
It's time for the main event. The New York Jumbo Jets, 6.5 wins, plus 335 to make the playoffs, 8.5 to win the division, just like the Dolphins, 40 to 1 to win the conference, 80 to 1 to win the Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
Big under on this one. This team is not good, and they're already hurt. Like, tell me where they're good. Please. I'm curious.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I like quarterback.
He's not. Why? Please tell me.
Why?
Yeah, tell me. Give me a reason why Sam Darnold's good.
Jeff
Besides
was the first
what
believer.
What we see on the field. Despite the fact that he looks like the fat version of you, what else do you like about him?
Skinny version of me.
That he was what, like 7 and 5 in college?
I believe
Sammy Scrambles.
I've seen the ceiling. And he's still so young. And I know you hated that. You hated it 2 years ago.
I can't wait until he's 35.
Isn't
like,
he like,
he's only 35. He's still going to be good.
He's the same age as Joe frickin' Burrow.
Who's way better?
I defend Sam.
Why? I don't get it.
I think he's really good.
Why?
I would want
Besides,
him on the Chargers.
I think he's really good. Can you give me anything else?
Yeah, he makes the plays. He has the talent. He hasn't had a coach.
What talent? He still doesn't have a coach. And what talent does he have around him? Jamison Crowder?
No, he is talented to be an upper tier NFL quarterback.
Okay.
That's what my eyes tell me. We're watching different games.
You just want him to be really good.
No, I think he's really good.
Despite the fact that evidence says the contrary.
I disagree with that evidence. He's had one in his limited time in the league. I have seen the high end to know this is a guy
you see him make 2 good plays a game, and they look incredible. That's fine. I will say that you are right. He makes some spectacular plays.
Okay.
The other 90% of plays, not so good.
This is an enormous year. Josh Allen could have had this conversation when breaking down the Bills and Josh Allen.
But no, with Josh Allen, everyone just assumes he sucks.
This is
outperform expectations.
This is year 3 it's kind of mattered for 2 years for the Jets, but only one thing matters as it pertains to the Jets this year. Year 3, Darnold better start making, there better just be film to back up the words I say instead of you asking me, no, you say these things, but I don't see them. He better make huge strides this year. I believe he will. I do believe the team's still in a bit of trouble. I am going to take the over, though.
The coin is taking the over along with Geoff. So the defense is worse. The offense is probably worse. But Tim, you think that they're going to win 14 games?
Now, I'll let people in on the inside of my notes here. I wrote on my paper, don't be crazy. So that's a promise that I'm making to myself and to the listeners. I don't want to get over my skis and get too excited.
The talk of the NFL world.
But we're the talk of the league, and we're so good. That's the thing. The reason we're the talk of the league is because this team is stacked, and I don't care who wants to say to the contrary. Every single position, I look at it, and I am hyped. Geoff made the point. I don't need to make the point about Sammy Scrambles. He's amazing. We all know that. I expect a bounce back year from Bell. I'm the least excited of him of everybody, but apparently Frank Gore looks amazing in camp. So I have every reason to be excited about that. Perriman, Crowder, Mims, Hogan, bomb squad, if there ever was one. I'm serious. I don't know if there's another team's receiving core in this league I would trade for to get what I've got. I think I've got the best package. I really, now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overlooking somebody. There's individual receivers I like better. But would I take anyone's maybe New Orleans? I guess I would
Bucks?
take Thomas. And yeah, okay. And the Bucks do. Fair enough. Those are the two teams.
The Falcons?
I think, no, it's just Julio and then other guy. I don't know. I don't care. I want what I got. I got good guys.
Denver's is better, isn't it?
No. I love what I've got. You've got Becton, who has, and everyone's seeing this, not just me, way exceeding expectations. This guy is.
What are you talking about? The left tackle in training camp?
Level. Left tackle. Like, this guy has got Hall of Fame potential in him. I mean, he pushed a car up a hill going in reverse. I don't care when anybody else.
Oh, so now it's in reverse. The brakes weren't just on. The car was actually in reverse that he was pushing up.
That's what I believe.
No, he's losing his goddamn mind.
No, let's get into it right now then. All right? Week 1, Buffalo. Week 1.
Underrated defensive player.
Week 1, Buffalo Bills. Win or loss?
That's W.
Okay.
W.
Week 2, San Francisco 49ers. At home, too.
Yeah, I'm giving us the win. Give it to us.
Colts. At the Colts, week 3.
3-0.
Broncos. At home, week 4.
3-1.
They're going to lose to the Broncos. They're going to beat the Niners
Yeah.
and lose to the Broncos, though. At home against the Cardinals.
4-1.
At the Los Angeles Chargers. You've already given them that win.
5-1, and then we're the talk. We can remain the talk of the NFL.
At home against the Bills.
W.
At the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's a loss.
At home against the Patriots.
W.
At the Miami Dolphins.
And I should make that Patriots game as a Monday nighter again. Revenge for what they did to us last year. Putting that tape out when they knew that putting that tape out would humiliate the young star. They would have never done that to Brady or Breeze or Roethlisberger or Rivers or any of the boys who have stature. Like, they wouldn't
you mean
quarterback that video.
Quarterbacks that have done something?
They would never have released that. They allowed it to make fun of Sam. That was dirty pool. I despise ESPN for having done that, and that's a revenge game when ESPN will have to. I hope they come on the air and apologize for what they did. I'm sorry. I lost track. I'm fired up here.
At the Dolphins.
That's a win.
Bye week.
Move on.
Sounds like a loss. That's probably a big win because they're going to be like 0-10 or something. At home against the Dolphins coming out of the bye.
Again, back to back, we have to play the Dolphins. How unjust is I've already been
ridiculous.
Through this.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It is.
Didn't
ridiculous.
this happen
Thank
last
you.
year and you were complaining?
No, it hasn't happened since 1983 that two teams have played each other consecutively.
And he was complaining on the schedule release show.
But it's
I
the
agree.
Dolphins. But it's the Dolphins, so you don't think they're any good.
Shouldn't be anybody. In fact, if anything, that's the advantage to the Dolphins. They get to have the extra time to get ready for us.
It's an advantage to the worst team in this situation.
Do the Dolphins
because they get
share
the
your
extra
bye?
film. We don't need it. They do.
Do the Dolphins
we
share
share
your
a
bye? That second game then could be, if the season isn't going well for Miami, out of the bye they could throw Tua. Could be the Tua debut.
At home against the Raiders.
Raiders.
So it's a loss.
You're taking the
Yes.
Raiders in
and
New York.
Broncos.
You're taking
Raiders
the West
get us all the time.
You're taking the West Coast team coming east at 1:00, but not the Niners. The Raiders is who you're going with.
Las Vegas isn't on the coast, if anything.
Well, it's in the Mountain Time Zone, or is it on
Pacific, actually.
So
I think it is Pacific.
So it's exactly the same thing.
No, it's a shorter trip.
Oh, at the Seahawks, that's like a double win if you win.
Yeah, tell me about that. That's basically my Super Bowl. Yeah, we win that game.
At the Rams,
Loss.
at home against Baker Mayfield. Oh, that's going to be a fun game. 2 days after Christmas.
That's a W.
At the Patriots in Week 17.
We're
Doesn't
resting
mean
guys.
anything.
Loss.
Oh, you're resting guys.
Doesn't mean anything.
11-5 for the Jets is what you got.
So
Okay.
when do you
Okay.
clinch your playoff spot? Because you've been bragging like every year.
I wouldn't be
every
surprised if,
year-
like, by Thanksgiving,
I was
start
gonna
of December.
Sorry, Pat. I was going to say every year about Thanksgiving, Tim literally tweets, "This time next year, I will be celebrating the Jets' clinched playoff spot."
I don't know. I don't want to tweet that once. I don't think I tweet that all the time.
Are you gonna share what you're wearing there, Tim? I saw earlier you kind of flashed up.
I wanted just so you could see it. I put my hat on.
Oh, it was just for me.
Well,
Okay.
I just wanted to see if you were paying attention. I had my
Oh,
Jets hat on.
I was paying attention.
So Kevin Streelman versus Frank Gore for AARP Man of the Year. for
Streelman,
Tim.
who was first round leader not that long ago, I'll let you know. Despite he's no good, really good.
How do you finish?
I don't know what you. I don't care. He doesn't have 4 rounds in him. He's not.
And this, you know what proved how delusional you are? You thinking anyone else is paying attention to what your 11th overall
Or that
pick
this,
is
rece-
doing in
or this
camp.
wide receiving core. I give the Jets a hard time, but objectively, bottom 5 receiving core in football.
Perriman is fantastic. When he got the opportunity to play last season, he was sensational. There's no other word for it. There's no other word possible for
Oh,
it.
the third guy
Crowder-
beside Evans and Godwin got to have some clean opportunities.
When he got his chances, he played great when those guys went down with injuries. Crowder, did he not make the Pro Bowl last season? I think he might have. He's a darn good player. Mims is, you look at his
Hurt.
numbers from Baylor.
Hurt.
He'll be fine for week 1.
How do you know that?
That guy,
How do you know he's going to be fine for week 1?
that guy is, and it's not just me. People who are like experts in football, when they made the pick, said that's a game-changing pick. That's like a second-round Michael Thomas style pick. What the Jets did just there. That has the potential to be
Everything is
coup.
the best. Becton's Ogden. This guy's Jonathan Michael Thomas. Like they're like, there's no middle
got
ground here for
Sam
anything
Darnold
the
isn't
Jets
going
do.
to have a weight problem in 6 months.
We added McDougald, who I think is a great player.
Better than Adams, Tim told me, actually.
I do not believe
You
that. but
did.
I'd rather-
I have the text that you said
I'd rather
that
have
he's
the
better.
2 first rounders.
But what
You said
happens?
you'd rather
And
have
McDougald.
McDougall than Adams because you watch YouTube videos and he's better.
What happens when Bell
I'd rather
misses?
have-
What happens when Bell misses 2 weeks because he decided to go bowling?
Then they can cut him. He's the one guy I have the least affinity for.
That's the
The
guy
heck
you
with
want to
him.
draft in fantasy, by the way. Is
I
Le'Veon
actually
Bell.
do
Yeah,
like
that's the guy who you want to get. So what?
Henry Anderson is a great player.
What
Quinn
hap-
Williams.
What
player.
happens this time? Not this time next year, but March of next year or April of next year when the Jets have the second pick in the draft because they suck because they're no good, and there's a quarterback available. How quickly does Tim turn on scrambled egg Sam here? That's what his brain feels like.
He turns on it pretty fast. But I'd like to make one point, my closing point about the Jets. I actually don't think Gase is as aloof and out there as people give him credit.
He's the
for.
worst coach in the division.
He's leaking negative stories that make himself look as bad as his players that he's leaking about.
I want to just say his last 2 years of coaching, taking that Dolphin team of 2 years ago to 8-8 with a chance in the final game of the season to finish over 500, and last year's Jets team to 7-9. I don't think there's 6 coaches in this league that play those 2 seasons in one game under
You guys
500.
are fucking delusional.
I
You
think there
realize
is
that.
truth to
Those
that.
teams
He-
sucked. Those teams
Oh no,
sucked.
that's not true. I heard all last year from him and you. The Jets are pretty good.
Hold on. I'll give myself credit about something else, Tim. I know the Jets. I crushed it last year. I was like a super lock
do.
maven.
Yeah, you do.
Not overall, but when it came to the Jets, that game against Dallas, that game against Oakland, I killed in really
did.
picking how the Jets were going to perform week in, week out. I will own that the Dolphin team of 2 years ago was exponentially worse than 8-8, and last year's Jets team with the
Played
Darnold.
the easiest schedule in the league.
Last year's Jets team with the Darnold missing all those games with Mono and having Kevin Falk Luke Falk. To go 7-9 is some minor miracle. I swear.
Thank you. And
I'm not trying to suck up to him, but
you were the first believer on
that.
Darnold. Like you were the first believer.
Well, I
give you
like
full credit.
USC, and he looks like
and
me.
Tim
but
didn't even believe because he wanted Baker Mayfield.
Tim had him behind Rosen. I think he had him fourth
Rosen
or
is who I
fifth.
wanted.
You can see.
I
You,
wanted
go,
Rosen.
you know what? You can go get Rosen right now if you want him.
That's a very disappointing thing that poor guy didn't make it. Anyway, I don't want to sound crazy. I want to sounded realistic.
Yeah, you
think
sounded
this
very in tune with the best wide receiving
I think
core in
this
the league.
team has
Bomb
some real
squad.
positions in a division where we said all these teams are shoulder shrugs. Why not us? Why can't it
That
be
is
our
not
time?
what was said. I said 3 of these teams are shoulder shrugs. One of them
And
is
I
bad.
think
the Jets are bad.
I think Sam could have a real special year. I don't want to say anything crazy. I just think he could be special.
I read a Jets report. It got put into my timeline. Did you know that Sam Darnold threw 3 picks and 9 passes against the second team defense in practice? Just defense isn't
wasn't
good.
trying that
I
hard.
have a question.
He wasn't trying very hard, was
Is
he?
Tim also not aware that your Twitter feed is literally customized to you?
No,
like
he doesn't know
it
anything.
is. It is
You just
personal.
heard him. What could he know?
It literally is personalized to you, and he thinks the world is talking about the Jets. That would literally be like me saying the entire world is talking about Phil Mickelson winning a seniors tour event.
They kind of were. My Twitter feed was loaded with people talking about it.
Point proven. We can move on.
Who are you picking to win the division, Geoff?
I did that. I'm gonna ride with Paul in Buffalo, even though I flip-flopped out to the under to the over at the last second. I will just stick there.
I got New England. You got Buffalo. Tim has the Jets. Let's move on to the South. Texans, 7.5 wins, plus 154 to make the playoffs, plus 150 to win the division, 25-1 to win the conference, 50-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Can I go?
Weirdly, this might be my favorite over of everything. Over the wins, make the playoffs, win the division. They do it every year.
I don't want to say that it's my favorite trifecta, but I smell what you're smelling, and that is just this generic public like disdain for the Texans because they made trades that fantasy guys don't like, and maybe they were bad trades. I like Hopkins. I love Hopkins.
Yeah, they're not great trades, but they still have the best player.
Yeah, like, but there's just like
The league
and we'll
MVP.
make fun of O'Brien weekly, like, but there is a stank on them that is affecting that number. So I think the over is the play. They shouldn't have that with Deshaun Watson.
And
they shouldn't.
Listen, they get made fun of because they lose in the first round of the playoffs every year, basically.
They're still
And they play in the early
yeah.
Saturday game, but they're still there.
And there's still players on both sides of the football that I got no problem putting money on. Over 7.5.
Over
And
7.5
the
for me,
playoff bet you mentioned is
Plus 154 to make the playoffs. That's a good bet.
so yeah, I like that.
Coin's going under. Tim.
Over. Watson's my MVP for the season.
Oh,
I like everything that you guys said. The only way things can go sideways on the Texans is that they gave up a 24-0 lead in the playoffs. And does that sort of thing linger with what is the worst coach in football blowing the whistle for your team? The only two drawbacks, terribly coached, coming off one of the worst losses in playoff history. So we'll see.
I
But
actually
I think Mahomes
like
MVP, I like the over and everything.
You said
I would like it
Mahomes.
if there was a competent coach who can motivate the team, but they don't have a competent coach. They have the most minus EV of minus EV people blowing the whistle. So, like, he can't turn anything to his advantage.
I
The
like
opposite of King Midas.
I like the MVP call.
For Watson?
Yeah, I mean, we all know he's like got the talent to do it, but because people have low expectations of this team this
Yeah.
year and think they traded away his best receiver and player,
They did.
They did. So if he just does what he's been doing in his career,
It looks a lot better.
it'll look better than it just
Yeah.
was in previous years.
I think that's unlike last year when you were like Rivers is going to win MVP. This one makes some sense. I can see the path to this one happening. I couldn't see it with Rivers. Like, because if the Chargers were going to be awesome, their defense would have to be awesome too. It's not like Rivers was going to throw for 6,000
We don't need to
yards.
rehash my mistakes. There's enough of them.
It was like Jameis. Like, Jameis, you're not going to win MVP throwing 35 picks. It's just not going to happen. Tennessee Titans, Les Titans, as Geoff enjoys to say. 8.5 wins, minus 134 to make the playoffs, plus 160 to win the division, which is really weird. Conference, plus 1,300 and 28-1 to win the Super Bowl. Their odds don't like jibe with anything. Like, they're over, like, I feel like they've been taking action on like one of these and not one of them. They've been dropping one, increasing the other. But I have no idea what to make of this team.
Exactly.
They're a very confusing team. They could be really good. They felt like such fucking smoke and mirrors last year, though.
We like the roster. It's got depth. But if the team just turned back into a pumpkin,
Like a 6-10 pump.
no one is shocked. Like nobody is shocked. So like you, I'm really torn. I meant to just ask one question. I want to just move backwards.
We're not talking about the fucking Jets again, are we?
Well, I just want to say Tim picked what, 11 or 12 wins?
11.
Will he bet a cent on over 6.5?
Yeah, I already have.
We bet Bills versus Jets wins.
We'll talk about it.
Well, Tim, how about this? I'll set the line
no.
at 8.5, and I'll give you 2-1 for the over.
Think about that one.
What do you want to bet?
Oh, you put up. I'll put up $200, so you'd owe me 100. How about that? We won't make it as deep as our other bet.
Yeah, sure. That's that. Let's do that. I feel like I'm going to win that.
Jets 2-1.
How couldn't I?
Yeah, how couldn't you? Of
How
course.
couldn't you? Okay.
Back to the Titans. It's a very simple formula, which they followed.
I have
all
to
the-
say I'm delighted they won't have any so-called fans for these games. Maybe it'll help them not to have bad luck on their side.
I've actually heard.
No, you didn't.
I
Don't
did.
even say it. 'Cause it's not true.
And no, I mean, how would you know? You don't.
He's
follow-
not allowed to go there. None of them are allowed to go there. Sorry, that's how it is.
I don't know what's happening.
No, they're. I was following Doug the Pug's Instagram feed,
Oh.
who is the biggest fan. He's like the
Super fan of the Titans?
yeah, like he's the one
Yeah.
who makes draft picks for them. He's
Yeah.
like the real super fan
Yeah.
version rather than like I don't know Postmaster Fred is for the
Yeah.
Jets.
Calling him that.
But apparently there could be a special exemption made to get Doug the Pug into the stadium.
No, it won't be. That will not happen.
That's good. Like, what do you think Henry's going to be this year?
I don't know. I don't get this team. I like Vrabel.
I hear he's
I
catching
love
a lot of
Vrabel.
passes.
I love Vrabel. And he got to keep his penis because they didn't win the Super Bowl.
They made the playoffs.
Yeah, but he threatened, he said,
They made the
chop
title
it
game.
off.
Talk about a
They
team that
made the
overachieved.
title.
I mean,
They made the title game. They beat New England. They beat Baltimore.
and they were up on the Chiefs by double digits at one point in the title game.
Yeah, it's like the Chiefs just had some fun spotting people points last year.
Yeah,
No,
the,
but the
the
Titans
Chiefs
were the
just
type of
played like the
team-
point spread was real. We're going to just
I know.
give you these
But if
points to start the
We're
game.
gonna
With the
play.
type of- Tennessee was the type of team to hold a lead against them. They just couldn't do it if anyone was going to.
I'm torn. I'm going to the under, but I don't love it.
I
this
am
team,
too. I'm
This
going
team
to the
could
under.
be 10, 11 wins. They could be tough, and I expect them to be tough and physical. And they're a team I look forward to betting when they're playing like Atlanta-type Falcon teams, that they'll just physically take advantage of.
I feel like it's more of a bet on Tannehill. I just don't see it keeping up. I'm not a believer.
Yeah.
I think he can be mediocre. That's fine. He can be Derek Carr. That's
But-
fine. But last year was like, come on.
I know, and here's the thing about it, Pat. A lot of people, like, your memory of them is the playoff games and Derrick Henry. But there was that, like, 6-game stretch when he took over where he was, like, the yards per attempt, yards per completion, like, insanity
Mahomes level, yeah.
statistics.
He went shot for shot with Mahomes in a game and beat him.
Under, but
I believe
don't-
that was the Matt Moore game, wasn't it?
Might have been. Under.
Oh, it could have been. It was against the Chiefs. You very well could be right.
That's the only round of we have between the two shows. Actually, no. Round of over on the Cardinals from NFC, round of unders on the Titans. Those tend to go.
We didn't all take the over on Philadelphia. I thought we did.
No, the coin took the under.
Oh, yeah. See, I consider the coin real.
Why? The coin won last year.
Coin's a person.
Yeah, I got here the same way the coin did.
Tim's pick to win this division last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars, 4.5 win total, the
Ooh,
lowest
boy.
of the AFC, plus 750 to make the playoffs, 22-1 to win the division, 80-1 to win the conference, 175-1 to win the Super Bowl. They are being projected as basically the worst team in football.
Worst team.
I like Minshew. I actually do. I think Minshew's okay.
First coach to be fired. This is it here. I mean, I don't. Marone's got to be the favorite, but eat the chalk.
If they didn't lose all their defensive players, I would actually feel better about the under.
But didn't they just trade them away?
Yeah,
too?
or they're just decided they don't want to play for the Jags anymore. So they either traded them all away, like under.
Ngakwe could be going to the Jets.
This
the
is an
rumors that I've been
internet
reading.
rumor from 2 weeks ago.
Well, it's not just an internet. Well, yeah, it is an internet rumor because I saw it on the internet, but it was all over Twitter.
all over your Twitter.
Oh, well, by definition, of course, it's my Twitter. There isn't some like platonic ideal of Twitter.
Yes,
where
there is.
all
That is exactly what Twitter is. It is a curated news feed for the things that you want to see.
It didn't show up on my Twitter
I
until
didn't
you
see
like
it either.
quote tweeted it going, woo! As if it was going to happen.
Worst team in football.
This feels
Yeah,
like
that's
the
that way.
Washington footballs over under from last year's. Like this team is gonna be bad.
Yeah, worst
Just
team
under.
in football. They are. I know we kind of like it was the tank for Tua thing last year, and that galvanized Miami in many ways. The locker room. There's a real tank for Lawrence happening here, and they won't be able to.
unless Minshew's good.
They won't be able to get him at 5th overall like Miami was able to get their guy by winning a few extra.
But I mean, if we blinked and this team somehow went 10-6, like I wouldn't like be, or 5-11 to get over, would I be shell shocked? No.
Oh,
Yeah, they could
sorry,
win
5-0. Yeah, no. But I am projecting
Like
to
over's
me,
on the table, but I'm gonna play under.
I'm going to play under just because they are, to me, the team that's going to draft 1st overall. So I know what sort of math that requires, and it's under 4.5 to get that pick.
I like Minshew in fantasy. Play Minshew. Minshew walk.
How deep of a league do you
just
need
want that
to
beer.
want that guy?
Like
I'm in a 10-man league. I should have no interest in Minshew anywhere.
I mean, I have him rated over Brady. I think he's a better fantasy.
I don't
player.
want Brady either.
Like take quarterbacks who run. Minshew runs, and he's going to be playing garbage time in a lot of these games.
Who's the DD and who's the other receiver? I don't mind there.
They have DJ Chark,
Chark?
That's who it is.
Chark.
and they drafted Shenholt. I think his name is.
Yeah, from
Chark is a great play in DK week after
Colorado.
week after week.
What's that?
Colorado.
I think so. Colorado. I don't know. Not my forte. College
Washington,
football.
or-
Colts. Let's finish this off. Last team over under 9. Playoffs -190. Division +120. Conference 11-1. Super Bowl 22-1. All the pieces have aligned for them. They have a quarterback, I think, who's better than what they had in the past. I mean, from last year, not Andrew Luck, obviously. Andrew Luck was better. I like their coaching staff. I like all 3 levels of their defense. I think their offensive line is really good. I worry about the skill position receiver. I just worry about the receiving core.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Hilton's already banged up. Jack Doyle's already banged up. They have Paris Cambeau, that Frenchman who smoked a cigarette. I don't know if he's any good. Zach Pascal, the other Frenchman. I mean, I don't know if I want all these France football players. And they go and they draft Michael Pittman. He's a 2nd-round rookie. Could be good, or he could be Mims. Who knows?
Oh, you're not prepared
In
to
the-
call
in
him
the
Michael
divorce
Thomas,
data-
like Tim's?
Yeah.
Go
In the
Tim.
divorce dad analogy, does River sleep in a big racing car?
No, he's more of he owns the racing
No,
car.
I
now.
actually
he owns the Corvette.
In the divorce dad analogy, I made it seem like dad doesn't like live alone in that racing car. He literally found a brand new family and is doing perfect,
I
like
think
just
he's got,
fine.
that.
Did
He's
he
got
have
like
a-
the hot girlfriend. He's got the
Or he had a
22-year-old
second,
girlfriend.
or he had a
That would
second,
be
or he
weird.
had a second family to start with,
He always had a big family.
and got caught with a second family.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know if I love the Colts. I think on paper a lot of it makes sense. I can see this going really wrong. That Rivers just might be washed. Like he's just
That
chucking,
is the risk.
like the move is turn around and hand the ball off the entire time. Utilize the running backs like he did in Los Angeles, but I don't know. Turn him over the keys, and if they can't keep him under control, he's throwing picks.
Why can't it be Kurt Warner in Arizona?
It could be. I think Kurt Warner's a better quarterback than Phillip Rivers is. Like, let's be
Yes,
real.
he
Let-
is.
Let's be
But
real
I'm
here.
just saying that type of thing where a guy rejuvenates on a new team after he had a great career and then it sort of ebbed out. New team
I
sort of
think
like
I
gives
think
him
the,
a
I think
short
the
burst.
difference is instead of throwing to T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman, he was throwing to Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden.
Sure, although Ty is a darn good receiver. He's not on their level. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he's a
What-
good receiver.
I feel like that's
Phillip Rivers,
All right,
if there's a quarterback who's kind of just thrown to like nobodies and been okay doing it, it's Phillip. So
yeah,
I-
Vincent Jackson, he was no good.
name more.
Superstar.
Keenan Allen.
Antonio Gates.
You told us
Keenan
that
Allen.
Hunter Henry's the best tight end in football for the past 3 years.
He had LaDainian Tomlinson catching passes for years. I'm sorry,
no,
I don't
my,
buy
my
that.
point
Jeff.
being is bottom, like once
How
you
dare you
pass the
besmirch
Bears,
Seji Ajira-Tutu?
that's what I mean. Tattoos waves bye-bye to the Titans secondary.
I did hear
Dontrell
news,
Inman.
I actually heard news today that the Colts have signed Travis Benjamin because he's like Phillip Rivers' friend. That's actual truth.
I don't know.
I
if
know.
that's
I'm not trolling you. Like
I'm going to now stop and look because carrier pigeons haven't let me know, and I really hope that's not true.
It's true.
Okay, that's upsetting. This team is really good. You said it. They are set up at every position, every level on the defense. You do have concerns about the skill position players, but
Is Terry still kicking?
They will execute.
That's a problem.
They will execute. You're right. That might be their biggest weakness. They will execute properly. Are we concerned that like Philip, just what happened last year continues? 100%. That is a very real situation. That's just the reality. That is just over. There is no second wind. But I would like to say this. I want to say, everyone raved about what was going to happen in the quarterback market in the offseason last year. It felt different than almost in our entire lives of like no quarterback's going to go anywhere, let alone what happened last year. Every single one of them, though, to me, if they completely turn into a pumpkin, I don't think you can be shocked. If Ryan Tannehill sucks again, granted he stayed with his team, but he was a free agent and got franchise tagged. If he sucks, no one's shocked. If Bridgewater was held up by the Saints, surprised, not shocked. If Cam Newton is literally just damaged goods, surprised, but totally shocked, no. If Brady plays like he's 43, I'm not surprised. You might be. I'm not.
I'm not.
And if
Tim would be.
And if Rivers just last year continues, well, we saw last year, so how could you be surprised? Every one of them brings real questions to the table. There's one team that sets up for Philip Rivers to have optimal success. He's on it. They're winning this division. They're going far. They are going far.
Would the Colts have been better off signing Philip Rivers or younger Philip Rivers, Jameis Winston?
Jameis Winston. I
agree.
love Philip Rivers. That's 100%. I think Jameis Winston has an MVP ceiling in 2020. I don't think Philip Rivers has that.
Frank Reich would have been very good for him.
He can bring attributes that can help the team, but he doesn't have what Winston has, and he threw 6 less picks. So what are you even getting? I hate to like anti-Rivers anything, but I love Winston. So I agree with that assessment. And what's crazy enough, of all the 5 quarterbacks I named that found new homes, Pat, I like Winston more than all of them.
I like Cam the best, but that's me.
But if Winston went to New England, you wouldn't have
I would have them winning the division.
more. I might be more confident in them, to be perfectly honest. But that's me.
I agree.
Cam
I
more.
would be too. I know. I would be significantly. I would probably pick New England to win the division.
I think Philip is going to fit
if he was
there.
there.
I think it's going to just
Jameis was there.
fit so good. And I'm going to get emotional, and it's going to hurt because
Is this going to be like when Ray Bork won the Stanley Cup with the Avs instead of the Bruins?
no, because that Avs team, because a quarterback
Yes,
is like
actually.
so much more. Like if you are the quarterback,
Yeah, but Ray Bork was the Boston Bruins for 20 years.
this is what I want to say. If you are the quarterback that wins the Super Bowl, you are almost 95% the main reason your team won the Super Bowl. That team had, he wasn't even the best defenseman. They had Rob Blake. But they had Forsberg
Yeah, but
and
it's
Sakic.
like saying that Peyton Manning was the big key to winning in Denver when they won, when she was like, just don't fuck this
No,
up.
I agree. It would have
Nick
those.
Foles
It would,
in Philadelphia.
sure. The
Foles was great
analogy.
in that
The
Super Bowl.
analogy is fair that a player goes there that didn't have win the big one and gets to win the big one. I love Philip Rivers. I would say in the annals of hockey, Ray Bork's career ranks
Better
higher than like
Rivers.
Philip Rivers.
Yes, I agree.
Well, yeah, of course.
I didn't need any add-on. I said it.
They didn't really sign Travis Benjamin.
Does he even have a job?
No, he might sign with the Colts.
No, he's
now.
not with San
I'm-
Francisco.
the-
He's on the 49ers.
I'm going to tweet out that he got cut and that he's going to sign with the Colts, and then Tim's going to see it and be like, Twitter's saying that he's signing with the Colts.
But I'm not going to lie. I wish I had preseason for 2 reasons. 1, so I could watch my rookie play in the second half and love it. 2, so I could be prepared.
Well, you
I
drafted
could be-
a quarterback in the first round. That's good news. That means by Tim logic that he's what? Tom Brady? Aaron Rodgers?
I guess by
Best
Tim
quarterback
logic.
of all time because he
But-
went in the first round?
Not getting the preseason did not allow me to just see a real life Philip in that royal blue white drop back awkward release. Like I'm not ready for it. My eyes are watering right now. It's so weird. It's real to me. Like I love him.
Over under, Tim.
Over. Not super strong, but over.
I'm going to go under. Playing against, you're crying.
The Colts will be better off for this. No, I like him a lot. I just like him a lot, okay?
See, and you said I'm a crazy person.
I acknowledge I'm crazy. You think you're normal. That's the difference.
I am normal. I am normal.
I am
What does your
You
friend
gotta believe me.
What does your friend Christopher Walken have to say about that, Tim?
Well, you see, guys, I missed the earlier impressions because I was busy filming a new movie. Can't tell you about it. It's all very secret. But I was glad you saw some of my. I like that Colts pick too of a slide over. It's a good idea.
I do think it's funny that he signed his next job and it's not in TV.
Yeah.
Philip signed his job to coach a high school, like for when he retires. The job's just on hold for him. What
Or he
lucky
just
kids.
did that for ink.
One
did
day,
that for the Yankees.
you know what? One day when the world's back to normal and Phil is coaching, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to a game.
That's
Watch him
creepy.
coach. I'm gonna.
You'll seem like a predator around these like kids who are
No,
playing
they've got a
football.
relationship. They talked on the phone once. They know each
That
other.
is true.
Remember when you called me, Mr. Rivers, 5 years ago for a couple of minutes? Of course I do, sir. How are you? Let me recite all the names of your kids because I know them all.
Everything matters.
Under for me. Who are we picking for the division? I'm picking Houston.
Colts.
Houston.
That's good because you picked Watson to win MVP. I don't think he's going to win the MVP if Houston doesn't win the division.
Probably not.
All right.
So I got Ravens, Bills.
Ravens Bills is your AFC title.
No,
game?
sorry. I'm just looking at my Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, Colts. Those are my winners.
So let's
Chalk,
make,
except for the Colt, I guess.
let's make our predictions right now. Who do you got in the AFC Championship game, Geoff?
Tim, the Colts are actually the chalk, though.
There you go. Then you have 4 chalk picks.
Oh, that sucks.
Geoff, who's your AFC Championship game? Who over who?
Kansas City over Indianapolis.
I have Kansas City over the Steelers. Tim.
Kansas City over the Texans. So I guess opening night is my AFC title game as well.
I think the Texans are live that game, but you know what I said about the Chiefs and what they'll win, and I have them going.
I'll be taking that. I'll be taking those points opening night.
Yeah,
put it that way.
I've picked the Chiefs to win the AFC, so that's what you need to know.
Me too.
But I think for week 1, I want to bet Houston plus those points.
That's what Tim just said. So you know what's going to happen is that it's going to. What is the line on that game? Like plus 10?
10 and a half. I think you want the points in every week 1 game pretty much.
There you go. So it'll be plus 10.5. The Texans will open up a 14-0 lead. Tim will go to Twitter. And everyone will see it. And he'll take his victory lap halfway through the first quarter and they'll lose by 35. That's how this plays out. If people don't know how Tim's picks end up going. Anyway, Geoff Fienberg. At GFienberg17. The Coin at The Coin on Twitter. Paul Shaughnessy at Paul Shag on the Twitter machine. And of course, on Twitter, you can follow me at the PME, Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. I don't think that we forgot. Oh yeah, insane person, Tim Andergust!
Tim Andergust.
Not my name. At Tim Anderson 87. I bring the funny.
I hope people remember their takeaway from this show is
You
That you
cried
cried.
about Philip.
That you cried about Philip in
No.
royal blue.
that's less crazy than you thinking you're getting 10 yards on 3 carries, pal.
I don't know that it is.
I think it is.
Is it less crazy than Geoff going to a high school football game that he doesn't know any of the
In
players?
Alabama.
To go
Is
in
it even high
Alabama
school?
to hug
Yeah, it is.
to hug like a 40-year-old man.
I didn't say hug. I just wanted to go watch him coach.
I just want to lurk.
You're gonna go up and hug him. I don't know. You may
I
not be
love
able to
you.
hug him post COVID.
I will hug him
If he'll
at
let you.
Antonio Gates's Hall of Fame induction. Because I'll buy like the VIP package. I'll be at like the special things. So I'll like be behind the scenes to make that
What if
hug.
COVID's still going on? You can't get into the States.
Well, Gates has just been out a year. So we got about like 4 more. I think it works. So I'm not worried.
How many times do you think they'll reference that he was a former basketball player?
Yeah, sure. It'll be a lot.
They'll do it.
I'm upset I cried.
On the,
I didn't cry. I watered.
that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Smash the like button for the video. Please, in the comment section, tell me who your favorite over-under is. I don't know if Tim's muted or not, but he's losing his mind.
It adds to the allure, I think.
I didn't cry. I
don't need him.
watered. I watered.
Hey,
The
Tim,
hell does that mean?
What if he didn't cry, he didn't water, he just kissed me, Tim Bud?
Oh, it's so crazy. We're crazy.
You're crazy. This the guy's got to gain 10 yards on 3 carries.
Yeah, give him a shimmy, shimmy. Yeah.
Do a spin a rim. What would happen when Tim extends for the stiff arm? Like they'd break the
His
arm?
arm breaks. He has a sick
do
cough.
better spin move.
He goes to do a spin move.
I could do better than the Jamarcus Russell spin move.
That spin move worked. Yours won't. Hate to
So
tell
fine.
you. Anyway, smash the like button for the episode in the comment section. Leave me your favorite over under. Subscribe to Mayo Media Network, please, up on YouTube. Tell a few friends while you're at it. We're going to be back. Full content all throughout football season. The majors for golf. We have not all the sports covered. Most of the sports covered. Just subscribe to the network and Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Rate it 5 stars, please. Thank you all for watching. Good luck with your win totals. I'll see you next time.
That went off the rails.
Have you ever been on
watered?
Do you have like natural laughing gas in your system instead of oxygen?
I do not. That just struck me as such as just pure justification. Oh no, I didn't cry. I was just watering.
Yeah, I got moist.
I'm slicing a goddamn onion or something. Like, come on, man.
All right, Tim, thank you.
It was a pleasure, gents.
Fat Mayo Experience! Experience!